General Grievous is most commonly cited as one of the most terrifying threats of the Clone Wars, being trained in lightsaber combat by arguably one of the best swordsmen that the Jedi Order had ever produced, in Dooku. Grievous spent his days slaughtering Jedi Knights by the dozens. While he was an incredibly gifted and imposing physical threat, it's interesting to note that he was not Force sensitive, nor did he have any affiliation with the Jedi or the Sith of the era by proxy, as it's compelling that he largely lacked the same advantages that gave the Jedi and the Sith their power. Instead, Grievous served as an unquestionable machine that struck terror into the hearts of any knight who would be so unfortunate as to face him, despite being cut off from the Force itself. So what exactly made General Grievous so terrifying? How was he able to stand up to a fully fledged Jedi Master without any semblance of Force connection, and win? Well, stick with us today, weary acolytes of the galaxy, and let's explore Grievous's early life, his evolution into a machine that we know him today, and the ancient Sith tactic that he employed in order to turn himself into one of the most fearsome Jedi slayers of the Clone Wars, as well as galactic history overall. Formerly known as Qui-Min Jai Shilal, Grievous was born on the warmongering planet of Kali, and he grew up admiring the warlords of his homeworld that would venture into the galaxy in search of conquest, and return home with numerous trophies of immeasurable glory. This led to an early obsession with conquest, which quickly elevated him through the ranks of the Kali military forces. During his height of military power, he became one of the most renowned Kali military leaders, known for his tactical prowess and merciless willpower, which he displayed during the Kali conflict with the Yamiri. On one of Grievous's bloodiest conquests, he and his forces decimated the Yamiri, during which case he would have the seeds planted for his eventual hatred for the Grand Republic, as well as the Jedi, as they elected to assist the Yamiri in their struggles. This led to many pivotal battles being decided in favor of the Jedi Order, who Shalil would eventually grow to revere as gods. Throughout his later conquests, the being that would become known as Grievous discovered that the Knights of the Republic were virtually unconquerable in battle due to their attunement with the Force, which no one outside of the Order truly understood fully. To the uninitiated, the Force was nothing more than a mystical field of power that donated its favor to the Jedi and rendered them nigh unstoppable. This directly fed into Grievous's hatred of the Order and his desire to finally conquer the undefeatable, to finally topple the greatest warriors in the galaxy. This overlapped with the plot of Darth Sidious and Dooku, who were exploring ways of augmenting warriors with cybernetic enhancements in order to artificially combat the power of the Force, and allow a new breed of warriors to become skilled enough to take on tens of thousands of Jedi Knights that protected the galaxy at the time. When the being that would later become known as Grievous caught the eye of these two reclusive Sith Lords, they offered him the exact opportunity that he had been aspiring to achieve for years: the domination of the Jedi. While Grievous would be augmented over the course of years with different modifications and adjustments, there was far more to his combat prowess than simply being an augmented machine. The modifications heightened his speed as well as his agility, allowing him to keep pace with a fully trained Jedi Knight, as it augmented his strength to the point of bending steel with his bare hands. But though he was a daunting foe and an incredibly fearsome combatant, the Knights of the Jedi Order had faced far worse than him in the past. Therefore, Grievous needed something to set him apart from those that had come before him, and for this, he turned to an ancient Sith combat technique that was enhanced by his prowess in lightsaber combat, courtesy of Dooku himself. Under Dooku's training, Grievous became incredibly adept at using Jar-Kai dual-blade fencing, which was specifically designed to serve practitioners who often wielded two blades simultaneously in a duel, allowing them to balance agility with precision and strength. Jar-Kai fundamentals can be found in the training of virtually any lightsaber combatant who had a practitioner preference for more than one blade at a time, including Ahsoka Tano or Asajj Ventress, though Dooku would go on to teach Grievous the fundamentals of Makashi as well, Dooku's own preferred form of lightsaber combat. Grievous's eventual form, though, could be considered anything but graceful despite the teachings of Dooku. While Grievous became adept at using a lightsaber, the ancient Sith practice of Dun Mak served as the factor to tip the scales in his favor against the Jedi. bringing him from a formidable warrior to an outright terrifying combatant who soon would become capable of slaughtering fully trained Jedi Masters, and even going on to slaughter multiple Jedi at a single time. Duen Mok was a method that the ancient Sith utilized that was designed to overwhelm an opponent with a barrage of strikes and blows within a brief amount of time. This would cause a Jedi warrior to second guess and doubt themselves, as they were immediately thrust into the defense, within their mind running on overdrive in order to compensate for the overwhelming offense that Grievous was putting out. Essentially, the ancient Sith and Grievous long after them trained themselves to terrify an opponent to the extent of making them forget their training, and all it took was one opening or moment of weakness to deliver the killing blow. Many of the Jedi that perished at the hands of Grievous were only conquered due to a brief moment of weakness and hesitation caused by his absolutely terrifying presence and onslaught, as well as demeanor combined with his unrivaled aggression. In Legends continuity, Grievous directly rivals Darth Vader as perhaps the most widely feared Jedi executioner in modern Star Wars history, and while the canonical material shows him to be a powerful warrior, he largely pales in comparison to his Legends iteration and the power that he displayed there. It should also be important to note that Darth Vader was also a practitioner of Duen Mok, and used it very frequently against Jedi, with fear essentially being the ultimate weapon against a Jedi. The Jedi, however, would eventually mount a defense against Grievous as the entire Order learned of him. In order to combat Duen Mok, the Jedi had to reassess the situation as Grievous's reputation grew, and the story of the Jedi Slayer became more widely known across the Republic. When the time came to finally hunt down and end Grievous's reign of terror, they knew that they had to send a Jedi who was utterly excellent at defensive maneuvers. For this, they turned to the one Jedi that the Order deemed to be the master of defense, and the Jedi with the best chance of finally defeating Grievous once and for all: Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Kenobi's mastery of the defensive form Surisu was the final factor that was ultimately able to nullify Grievous's practice of Duen Mok, as their duel on Utapau embodied the concept of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, with Kenobi ultimately finally coming out on top and defeating Grievous. But that is the technique that made Grievous so dangerous. I should also add that in Legends continuity, his cybernetic mind was much more complex, allowing him to assess a Jedi's lightsaber skills nearly instantaneously, deducing their form, but more importantly, pointing out weaknesses that they had in their techniques. This allowed the Legends General Grievous to become a much more fearsome combatant than canon. However, both versions of the character utilized Duen Mok as a key and integral part of their fighting styles. But anyway, friends, what do you think of Grievous's backstory and his lightsaber technique? And would you like to see more of him in the future? Or do you believe that his story is now over? As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.